everybody. Welcome to the Jerusalem Connection Red Alert. And today I am sharing with you the story of a precious Jewish community in my own backyard in Loudoun County, Virginia, Rabbi Chaim Cohen of Loudoun Chabad. And Rabbi Chaim, we are so happy that you're able to join us. And what we would love to learn from you is a little bit more about the Chabad movement and your history of coming to Loudoun County and what you do as far as your mission with your community in the Loudoun County area, as well as the outreach you have to supporting Israel or Jews elsewhere. And we want to learn about that because we're also going to share everybody a project that the Loudoun Chabad is working on that we can be a part of, where we can share our love for the Jewish people by helping our very own neighbors in our own backyards. And we're going to learn more about that in a minute. But first, Rabbi Chaim, thank you again for carving some time out of your day to talk to us and educate us a little bit about Chabad and your history coming to Loudoun County to start your congregation.
Yes, thank you for having me, Amy. We've been seeing each other on many different events and programs, so it's great to be here and to be face to face with your audience. So Chabad is currently the fastest growing Jewish movement worldwide. There's roughly 4,500 centers around the world. Chabad of Loudoun is one of those centers. In Northern Virginia, there are a total of 8 centers, just for as an example. I think Virginia as a whole, there's 17 or 18, something around that. Every state in the United States has a Chabad house. I think the number is around 90 something countries.
Wow.
So Chabad is the fastest growing Jewish movement. You ask yourself, what is this movement and how did it start? Why did it start? Why has it been so successful? So I think we have to rewind the clock back to the late 1700s when the Chabad movement was born back in the old country, in what is today Russia, Ukraine, what is today Ukraine, but Russia back then. And it was started by a great rabbi named Rabbi Shner Zalman of Liadi, which realized that the Jewish community of his generation were suffering terribly from their neighbors. And because they were suffering physically, that took a major toll on the spiritual well-being of the Jewish community. So he saw to it to strengthen the Jewish community through the introduction of the Hasidic philosophy. Hasidic philosophy started by the Baal Shem Tov two generations earlier, but the Rabbi Shner Zalman took his own unique blend of the Hasidic movement and introduced the concepts that formed the Chabad movement. I don't want to get into all the details because I don't know how relevant it is, but the point is that from day one, it had a focus as the following. We cannot let our good brethren around us, I mean, Jewish brothers and sisters, and the world at whole go on default, go and just without a sense of purpose. People back in the day were very disenfranchised. Either you were learned and you were educated and you were part of the upper class, which was a very small percentage, or you were part of the working class, the blue collars. You had, blacksmith, shoemakers, water carriers, wood choppers, and these people were unlearned. And the Alter Rebbe saw the vision that if we don't engage these people, we're going to lose massive amount of our people, and it eventually could lead to total assimilation. So to preserve and to make everybody feel part of the global mission, he introduced the concept of Hasidic philosophy through his monumental book of the Tanya. Again, I don't want to get into all the details, but if you're going to fast forward a couple of generations, in 1950, the Chabad Rebbe, the most recent Chabad Rebbe, Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson, took over the movement in 1950. This was a few short years after the Holocaust, and he said, if we do not have a consistent effort to try to reawaken the Jewish people after the Holocaust and reintroduce Judeo-Jewish values into the world, again, this is another time in history where that was important. So the Rebbe's mission in 1950 was take all his followers. Hasidic groups stay very much in clusters in the Northeast, they live within their communities. The Rebbe said, no, we're going to educate our people and we're going to send them out around the world. The first one was to Morocco, Tunis, Australia. I mean, it started going, and that was the mission. The Rebbe drilled into us that we have to make this world a better place through acts of goodness and kindness. When you see darkness, you have to increase in light. That was the Rebbe's mission.
Wow.
And today, in the last since 1950, in the last 70 something years, the Rebbe started this idea. And today, as I said, there's around 4,500 centers around the world.
That's amazing. That is amazing, that growth, that contagious nature to want to improve the world and preserve the culture, the religion, the history, the language. And I think it's important for Christians to treasure that effort and that will to say to the rabbi or you even today that you want to preserve that culture, religion, the practice, but not just inside your bubble, but it only works on repairing the world if it's disseminated. And Christians can learn a lot of lessons from that, I must say. But we also need to recognize as Christians is we weren't always doing our job over the centuries, especially in the 1700s and well, a long time. And we need to appreciate that history, our role in it, but also now turn around and champion and be the friend so that those hard times, you are A, not enduring them alone, and B, that we as a larger block of the population can help stem that tide of those hard times, those dark times. You shouldn't have to battle those dark times on your own, certainly not. So
I
I
wanted
met, okay, go
I
ahead.
wanted to say one thing, which is that the Rebbe also instituted a global mission, not just for Jews. Rebbe engaged and communicated with and met with, and the Rebbe wasn't just about. The Rebbe saw that every human being is part of a global mission, and part of the mission to make this world a better place, and is an ambassador of light. Every person is an ambassador of light, and we all have our circle of influence, and we could choose what to do with that circle of influence. Do we let the darkness sit, or do we chase it away by bringing in light? And we could talk about examples, but that was a very important part of the Rebbe's mission was we have to engage everybody.
I think that's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful and needed now more than ever, certainly. To just fill in our viewers, I met Rabbi Chaim in 2019, about a year after he came to this area when some new neighbors of mine moved in, and we started chatting up by just walking the neighborhood and being out at the same time. And it turns out that they were a Jewish family, and they started to attend the rabbi's Chabad house, and I was invited to the menorah lighting in our community, and it was just such a wonderful event because it did exactly what the rabbi is talking about. It engaged the community. It was in the center of the community. There was music. It was engaging to children. It was engaging to young families, to parents, to grandparents to watch it, and it just encapsulated not just the light of lighting the menorah, but the light of that spark of light as image bearers of God. That light was just demonstrated, and it was so uplifting and so beautiful. And of course, COVID squashed a few years of it, unfortunately.
A couple year break, maybe one, yeah, 1 year not, but then the next year half, and then we're back.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And then the last one was the last two were really spectacular. 2022 and 2023. I was very happy to be a part of that. I think I shared some of those pictures on our Facebook. But in letting you all know that I have this direct, I feel like, connection with the rabbi just because he's my neighbor, and I'd like to say my friend. We don't spend a lot of time together, but we find ourselves in the same places at the same time, including Governor Youngkin's task force on combating anti-Semitism and other events in that nature. So we have this shared mission in bringing lightness to the darkness, and bringing goodness to push back the darkness. That's where we're crossing paths. And I just felt recently that the Chabad house has a particular need at the moment, which we're going to get to, but that I want you all to understand that this is a point where we can actually step in now and help. and that's our goal. So Rabbi, continue with the timeline. So now you're involved, and it's 2018, 2019, and you're moving to or you're establishing in Loudoun County.
Yeah. Yes. We are establishing in Loudoun County. We started off in 2018, in the fall of 2018. So shortly thereafter, about a year later, COVID hit, put us a little bit in a standstill, but we adapted very quickly with COVID. We put a lot of things online. We started doing things virtually, doing things outdoors. Um, and then we introduce many programs, consistent ongoing programs. Like we have our Sunday religious school happening very strong. We have a weekly Shabbat services now happening. We have strong men's events, women's events, adult education opportunities, humanitarian opportunities. When COVID hit, we collected thousands of dollars and distributed them to people that needed it. There's many humanitarian efforts going on. I want to mention one, which is the
Please.
ARC Project. If you go jewishloudon.com/kindness, is the ARC Project. The ARC stands for Acts of Random Kindness. And if I had one here, I'd show it to you. But it's a little yellow arc. You'll see on the website. It's a little yellow arc that we want every single child in Loudoun County, Jew and non-Jew alike, to get one of these arcs, put them in their house in their bedroom, and develop a habit of giving. They'll put in a few coins every day. When the ark is filled, you empty it out, and we want the children to actually go and deliver it to a person in need or an organization in need. Why?
Wow.
Because it's one thing to be kind, but what does that mean, be kind? No, you have to act. You have to practice. You have to develop a habit. So we introduced this project. We have a couple of local private schools that are adopting it. We are currently in talks with some larger grocery chains to put this in their front, and some other big exciting things I don't want to mention right now until they're more secure. But this is an example of how do we spread light. After October 7, we saw the darkness that can exist on planet Earth, and the Rebbe taught us, if we see darkness, we don't fight it with a baseball bat. You fight darkness with bringing in light. You bring in light, and automatically the darkness is dispelled. So that's why we did this program. There's other programs that we can highlight and talk about also for the general public, not just for the Jewish community specifically, that we've been working on. So, yeah.
I mean, that's what I love about, and obviously I've looked at your website and I'm aware of some of your community endeavors. The fact that yes, you're serving your Jewish membership in terms of their spiritual needs, the education, the programs, and I don't know exactly how to articulate, but raising the children to be confident in their Jewishness, in who they are, in their identity and their heritage. But more than that, stepping out into the community and bringing goodness out there too. And that's a lesson a lot of Christians and a lot of Christian institutions should to take notice of and emulate more. Certainly that's a tenet in the Christian faith, but it's not always executed so well. So we need to look to our Jewish brothers and sisters for inspiration in those endeavors. And you mentioned the darkness since October 7th. I'm wondering if you can share with us what you have assisted with or helped with in terms of what's going on in Israel. I remember in the fall, I believe it was, we had some survivors of I think it was kibbutz survivors. It might have been Nova survivors or some combination of some hostage family members also. DC is a popular place for those folks to come to because even as recently as this week, they're imploring our government to hear their stories and to do what it takes to secure the place, get the hostages out, etc. Wasn't your community extremely helpful and engaging in helping get those folks here, making sure they had a place to stay, food to eat,
So
transportation?
what happened was, this was in November of this year. There was a planned trip, a chartered El Al flight to New York, so that they can pray at the Rebbe's resting place, because they were sitting for over a month, still reeling from what happened on October 7, and there's not really much to do other than pray and support and be drafted into the army. But the actual families, the siblings, the parents, children of these hostages. So it's about, I think, 240 of these direct relatives of the hostages came on a chartered flight to New York, and then they came to DC for the march. It was the same time.
Oh, the rally, November 14th. Yeah.
Correct. Exactly. She was right. It was like 5 weeks later. And they needed a place to get fed, a place to be housed for that full day. They had meetings with Congress and some senators in the morning. They went to the rally. Then they had their flight was leaving at 1 o'clock in the morning. So we actually hosted them, and we had a whole event here. 5-star, beautiful event. We brought in kosher food catered from New York because no one else can produce that much kosher food in an instant. You got to get it from New York. So we brought that down. It was a logistical nightmare, but we were very happy we did it. And we got to interact one-on-one with, as you said, survivors of Nova, survivors of Kibbutz Be'eri, survivors that they're the only ones left in their family. The rest were either kidnapped or killed. It's just the most, I would say that that night was filled with power and strength and prayers and the unity felt in that room. You can touch it. It was tangible unity, tangible love, tangible care, tangible empathy, and everyone there was on the same page. And for us to be in the presence of that was such a unique experience. That's one example of what we've been doing. We've also been hosting talks with people on the front lines in Gaza, soldiers that were in Gaza. We have family members, mothers of hostages that we hosted virtually. We're actually having somebody come in July 21st. We're hosting an IDF hero that was actually a survivor of October 7th and an IDF hero. We're going to be hosting for a talk in person here on Sunday, July 21st. So we're doing a lot of that stuff to try to support. We've been sending a lot of money over as well, collecting and sending. So that's some of the specific October 7 efforts we've been having going on. There's a lot more stuff, but I know you want to.
I'm sure. And that's what's important for, I think, our network to understand, because we have an alignment in where our heart lies in helping our families, our own community, our community members outside our families, and then, of course, the world. And since October 7th, we've all sort of pivoted so laser-like on Israel because it was just so shocking, and the world's reaction to it was even more shocking or disappointing, I guess is the word. And that's where we, in the Jerusalem Connection, we Christian Zionists, we want to really make sure that the Jewish community, as a whole, as diverse as it is, understands that we don't want the Jewish community to feel alone anymore, or abandoned, or betrayed, which they will be, and we all are, but we're not going to do it alone. We want to stand with you and beside you, and to share what good work your Chabad house is doing, and the movement as a whole. It just tugs at our hearts that, well, what can we do to help? What can we do to help you continue your missions and your bringing the light into the darkness? And that's where you can tell us exactly how we can help. You have a very important initiative that's time sensitive ongoing right now. You've been in Loudoun County now since 2018, operating administratively and logistically amongst homes and rental property, I'm sure, however it works. But now you're going to create an actual Chabad home, right? So tell us about that project.
So yeah, thank you, Amy. We are going to be setting down roots for forever, and that's a pretty long time for forever, in Loudoun County, in Leesburg, and it's a very, very exciting time. If we close our eyes and think about what this place is going to look like down the road, it will be a beautiful center for life, for light, for spiritual growth, for people to connect with one another, for people to connect with God, for people to find meaning in their life. All the efforts we have going on will be magnified and will be multiplied 10x because of this initiative we're going into, which is we're under escrow right now for a 6.5 acre piece of property on Route 7, right smack in the middle of town. It's a dream 10 out of 10 piece of property. It is what we have in store. I mean, if you go to our website, it's jewishloudon.com/building, jewishloudon.com/building, you'll see some details of what we have. what we have planned in terms of the renderings and the visuals. And it's going to be an amazing, amazing center. And we have, thank God, a lot of support from the local Jewish community for this. We have a raise of $900,000 before July 20th. And this raise, we're holding at about 525,000. So that's 375 left to raise in the next 5 weeks.
Right.
So it's exciting crunch time, very exciting crunch time. We have some ideas where a majority of that's coming from, say maybe more than half of that, but we're still looking for partners and people that share the vision and share and care for helping one another find good, moral, godly people on this planet to come together and create more light and more blessings and more goodness around us. And we're reaching out to your audience and anyone else to participate in this. It's once in a lifetime. We're going to purchase the properties. Phase 1. Phase 2 is to get all the permitting and stuff. And phase 3 is to actually build this gorgeous center. So it'll be physically beautiful and spiritually beautiful. So yeah, that's the website. And I want to encourage everyone to take part.
I want to encourage everyone to take part too. If you're wondering how you can actually tangibly support the Jewish community in America, I mean, we have network members all over the country. A lot of them are in the DMV area, but whether you live in Virginia or you live elsewhere, this is an opportunity where you can contribute to something that will have a legacy far into the future. We don't know what the next generation will do, but it will just expand the reach of that mission. And I happen to be familiar with the piece of land. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's in a centrally located area, so from all over the county, people can get to it and partake in activities, education, support services, and just be helpful when help is needed, for that congregation, and to enjoy and watch their growth. And so there, I'm going to also be sharing in our blog article the links so you can go and contribute. We are not taking that money into the Jerusalem Connection and turning around and giving it to Chabad. We want you to just go right to their repository and do that because of the time crunch, the real estate law and escrow period, what it is. They need to close that gap by the 20th of July, and we'll post some reminders on our social media as the weeks click by for that. And we really want to participate in this. It is an excellent way to share our love for the Jewish people and our compassion for their needs and their desires to preserve their culture and grow it and shine that light on the rest of the community. Rabbi, tell us about one other program you have going on, because I am excited to partake in it, the Chai Club, which is a way we can consistently be participating in your good work and supporting it.
Yes, thank you. Chai means life, like l'chaim, to life. So Chai in Hebrew means life. So we have a Chai club, a life club, which is basically individuals that want to be part of the consistent, your heart beats consistently, because that's what life is, consistent pumping of energy and life. So we also have this other program, which is to encourage, again, moral and good people from around the world, Jewish and non-Jewish alike, to participate in our Chai Club. We don't have a membership model. That's something, we can have a whole talk about Chabad specifically. Chabad doesn't typically have a membership model. You don't need to be a member to pray to God. We just want you to come and enjoy. And if you so choose to participate in our Chai Club, that is our life force. We can only do what we do because we have people consistently contributing every month. If it's $10, it's $10. If it's $500 a month, it's $500 a month. If it's $18 a month, it's $18 a month. But it's something, and that really goes a long way. So yes, I appreciate you bringing that up, Amy. Thank you. And that would be a big, as we're doing this big capital raise, the more we have coming in monthly, the easier it will be to have everything grow because we have that consistent support.
That's the same model the Jerusalem Connection is. It's the mercy of those who give monthly or once in a while, but monthly is always helpful. So we want to again encourage. I'm going to share those links and share some screenshots for you all to see, but they'll be in our blog post. that you can go to the website directly. You can check out the beautiful architectural renderings of what's coming. If you know anything about Loudoun County, they got the architect or the design artist who really knew the heart of the county as far as it just looking like it belongs in Leesburg, Virginia. And we're excited to see the families of all of Loudoun County and beyond be blessed by this center. And I, for one, do pop in on your webinars and take advantage of some of those educational opportunities. And I learned so much. So you really do offer the entire community, including the non-Jewish community, opportunities to learn and to see the light that you are just so passionate about sharing, and we appreciate that, and we want to cheerlead it. Rabbi Chaim, is there anything else that you need our folks to know before I let you return to your family?
Um, Not really. I just think that in times of at times as these, when, as I think you started off saying, when you have the response of the world and there's like so much uncertainty, we appreciate it. Not only do we appreciate it, we recognize how vital it is to have the support of good, moral, godly people with us. It is important, it is necessary, and it is very appreciated. Myself, I'm talking as a person and as a rabbi of a community. When things happen in the world, I get the calls. People are
Mhm.
scared in our community. They don't show up to events. They don't bring their kids to Sunday school. They are scared. And these types of people these types of programs, these types of partnerships are what encourages people that, yes, they're not all hated. Like, I think 80% of America supports Israel, but you don't
Mhm.
see that when you watch the news, right?
Not
So
when you watch the news.
it's important to voice and to have these conversations. So thank you.
Thank you, and I'm glad you were able to come on with us and share what's going on. And we do want you to relay to your entire community that we are for you, we are with you, we will stand next to you, in front of you, behind you, wherever you need us to be. And we want to never allow the Jewish community to feel alone in dark times again. So
Thank you.
bless you, bless you. Israel High, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
אבינו חי, עוד אבינו חי, עוד אבינו, עוד אבינו, עוד אבינו חי. עם ישראל, עם ישראל, עם ישראל חי. עם ישראל, עם ישראל, עם ישראל חי. עם ישראל, עם ישראל, עם ישראל חי.